Boy, it's a really pretty day today. I think it's 80 degrees. Got a couple clouds in the sky. A little breeze from the south. It's a nice day. So tomorrow I'm going to drop this off. This is the John Deere I've been telling you about that it's had a slew of problems. Just go through them real quick. We had a, let's see, he wanted it serviced, 50-hour service. He called it service, tune-up, whatever you want to call it. But when I got over there, it wouldn't start. So he said, we'll fix that too. So I spent a lot of time trying to run that down. It was just a multitude of issues. So there was a clogged gas tank. There was bad gas in it. The choke was not engaging correctly, so I had to fix that. There was a belt that he wanted replaced. I replaced that, so the belt's actually in pretty bad shape. So you might be able to see there. So we replaced that. And then I serviced it. Now, I didn't do a thorough test run on this because, you know, you got to adjust the valves when you service it. You got to do all those things. I did open the valve covers up just to make sure that we didn't have a stuck valve or a lifter that was bent or something or broke. I mean, there was some reason it wasn't starting. So the objective was get it started, get it serviced, and then test run it to see if there was anything wrong with it. Well, there was. One of the cylinders stopped working after, I don't know, 5 minutes of running it just around the yard for a few seconds. I mean, it was just a couple laps is all I did. And so that was an indicator that the ignition coil went out. Now, an ignition coil is what creates your electricity, so your spark plug will spark. This is two of them. I got it tied together. So this goes up against the flywheel, and there's a magnet on the flywheel. Of course, there's two of them because there's two cylinders. And so that creates the electricity. Every time that magnet goes around there, it creates electricity. I've actually have a pretty solid understanding of how it works, but that's a whole nother class. And then that goes into your spark plug. So, like I said, lost power on one of the cylinders, so I was running it back up here so I could hook the spark testers up to it, see which one failed. I shut it off, put the spark testers on real quick, and it wouldn't start. So that means both ignition coils were bad. One just shut down early. So ignition coils can either just stop working altogether, or they'll stop working when it gets hot. What it is there's tons, miles, I don't know how many, but miles of copper coily wire in there, and it's insulated. And over time, through vibration, primarily, they even say these only last about 50 hours. That seems a little, not very long, considering, I mean, sometimes they last for generations. But regardless, vibration and heat wears away that insulation around that copper wiring. And so you end up getting a ground on it somewhere. So what happens is, as it heats up, it expands, and the insulation starts to separate, and then it cools and comes back together and separates. So as it heats up, you lose your electricity. And what was happening was there was enough spark to get it to pop off every now and then. So it was backfiring, making a heck of a noise. But the other side, when I got it up here, it wouldn't start, so I guess it was just a matter of timing. So both sides are bad. Now what's funny is you'll read and they'll say it's very odd that both coils will go out at the same time. I find it just the opposite. I find it very odd that one coil goes out. The beast the other day, you know, well, over the winter, the coils went out. Same time. It was running fine for a couple weeks. Took it down in the woods and I throttled it down, and it died, and it wouldn't start. Now, if one cylinder is working and the other cylinder isn't, you'll at least get that one cylinder to start, but neither one of them would. So both of them went out at the same exact time. Usually what happens is when you throttle it down, you have a weak ignition coil, and when you throttle it down, that puts extra stress on it and kind of just makes them go bad. It just finishes them off, I should say. So I think that's what happened to Beast. Probably what happened here too. Well, you know, with this one, I think what happened, I think he's been running it with one cylinder for a while now. I also think he didn't run it last summer, and the reason I think that is because the gas was pretty bad. So we're lucky we didn't have to replace the carburetor, because if that gas had corroded, That was another thing, was after I got the new gas in it and got it pumping back up to the carburetor, it was surging. So I had to take care of that issue also. So I just put some seafoam in the gas and crossed my fingers that would work, and it did. The surging did stop. But then it started backfiring and just all kinds of different noises. Hey, I'm going to interrupt this video real quick and ask you, at the end of this video, can you click on that up next box? It's over one of my shoulders. And check out that video over on my other channel. Again, I say it every day, we're really close to having enough watch hours. I thought we'd be there by now, but something has happened. It's kind of slowed down. The new videos that I'm releasing aren't getting as watched as much. So I guess it's taking a little bit longer than I expected, but that's okay. We're getting really close. So if you could go over there and watch it, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. What was funny is yesterday I ordered the part. It came from Fort Worth, Texas to here in Missouri in 24 hours. It went all the way up to I don't know, Illinois, some town in Illinois, Rockford, Illinois, maybe that's what it is. Over to Kansas City. So clear from the, so it went from the west over to the east, over to the west, back to the middle of the state in a town called Sedalia, and got it put on the delivery truck in Sedalia and came all the way down here in 24 hours. I mean, it was absolutely fantastic. So was able to get this back to him as planned. I planned on bringing it to him tomorrow anyways, before the ignition coil decided to give up on us. So I tell you what though, waiting for parts really puts us behind. The parts don't get here until about 11, and that's on a good day. On a bad day, it'll get here about 4. So I don't know, it just seems like, well, UPS doesn't deliver here 2 days a week, so they can be more efficient or something. So all the parts come all at once. So you'll be sitting around waiting for parts for 2 or 3 days, and all of a sudden you got all this work to do. So the only thing I have left now is I got to change the carburetor on this. This won't be hard. I got to tune it up and wash it. So oil change, spark plug. I think it has valves. Yeah, it's got valves on it, so I'll check the valves. New air filter. So I got the parts for that sitting here. And then I have a tire that I got to put a tube on. And I've been going back and forth. I'm going to buy a tire changer, a small engine or small tire changer, a small tire changer. Yeah, I'm going to buy one from Harbor Freight. And here would have been a perfect opportunity. They're like $65. They're not very expensive. But I think what I'm going to do with this tire is I'm going to put it on by hand. I did that last summer for everybody on this channel. But I'm going to put it on by hand and put it on the new channel, because it is shade tree mechanic after all, and not everybody's going to have a tire changer working in their backyard to fix their lawnmower tire. So I want to show an easy way of, well, it's not very easy, but a way of doing it to change it so, you know, you can put a tube in there, get a new tire. And then I'll wash that also. Now he had a chainsaw, an electric chainsaw. He wanted the blade sharpened, so the guy's got the tire, had a chainsaw, so I sharpened that already. And he came by today. He called yesterday and said, I'm going out of town for 2 weeks. So he came by and picked up the chainsaw, and I gave him one price and he gave me twice as much. I tried to give it back to him, but he wouldn't take it. He says, nah, I don't think you're charging enough. So this area is really interesting. The people who live here full time are fairly poor, but there are a lot of people around here who have second homes. So they'll come around from Kansas and Kansas City and St. Louis and stay in their second home. Well, they have a mower here, a mower there, you know. So he was going back to his regular home. What was interesting, he says his wife lives here. He lives in Kansas. I don't know if I could do a relationship like that. That's I don't know what that's all about. But he's an older gentleman. I mean, he's older than me. Okay, whatever works for you guys. So anyway, he said he'll be back in 2 weeks, so he'll pick up the tire. But he wants to drop off a Cub Cadet. He says it runs good, And just the nicest guys you can imagine. I don't even understand. He said, if you think the engine's bad, you can have it. I don't want it. But if you can fix it, I'll have a second mower for this property down here. And he says, I got a John Deere up in Kansas City. I'll bring it down too. So, I mean, you know, he's going to bring me all kinds of business. He's just really excited he found somebody that can work on his lawnmowers around here. I don't know. I always worry about customer satisfaction and my reputation. It's a big concern to me. And I do everything I can to keep it. I don't know, it just seems like people are just grumpy nowadays. Skitty's over there. She's wanting to get into the, she likes sitting in the seats of the lawnmowers. So you can see every now and then she'll look up, looking at that seat. Problem is I like to raise the seats up like on the Craftsman over there. And she gets kind of aggravated that she can't get on that seat. So, where was I? So, customer satisfaction. I think I talked about this yesterday. I just can never tell if people are happy. You know, with YouTube, well, let's start with my original business. I was a consultant I own my own company. I was a consultant. And so I would get a customer, and that customer would be with me for years. And so I could always measure their satisfaction. It was quite easy to measure it. You go back, they're still happy. I could ask them, are you still happy? Send out customer surveys, are you still happy with this though? You know, how many times you get your lawnmower worked on? Once a year, maybe? You know, if you follow somebody's advice and one year you change out the carburetor, or you have somebody change out your carburetor, and they tell you, well, make sure you drain the gas out of it this year so you don't have the problem. You may not see them for 3 or 4 years. Are they happy? Will they return? What I do know is the other day I was telling you there was this gal at the hardware store giving out my information, telling everybody to come over here. And I'll just use their hair color. The dark haired gal is the one I thought was telling everybody to come over here. And she is. She is the one that convinced me to get business cards and give them to her so she could hand them out over there at the hardware store. Just the nicest lady you can meet. But then there's another lady over there. We'll call her gray hair lady. And I don't even think she's that old, but her hair changed color. So I didn't know if she was sending people over here. So no big deal. I had hoped she would, and the reason I was hoping is because the dark haired lady is a manager. The owner of the hardware store also owns the gas station. So this dark haired gal is the manager of both places. So she'll work sometimes at the hardware store and sometimes at the gas station. But the gray hair lady works exclusively at the hardware store. And people come in all the time, but they actually sell Husqvarna lawnmowers and weed eaters and chainsaws. So it kind of behooves them to have somebody available that can work on their equipment just to keep their reputation up also. They don't work on them. So turned out today, the guy came to pick that chainsaw up. He said, yeah, the ladies over there at the hardware store, they told me to come over here. I said, which one, the dark-haired lady or the gray-haired lady? The gray-haired lady. Oh, good. That's good news, because now I know both of them are doing it. Now, I don't know if the owner is doing it. The owner and his son both own it. I mean, they're both owners. I don't know. They just don't seem like happy people. I'm always scared to be in there. I feel like they think I'm going to steal something. Because as soon as I go in, they're right on me. What do you need? And they don't smile. They don't say, hey, how you doing? I mean, the gray-haired lady, I walk in, hi, how are you? Like she knows me forever. I don't even know, well, I guess she knows my name now after I give her the business cards. But for the longest time, I didn't even think she knew my name. That's a positive. If people can go over to the hardware store and they're sending them over here, that's a huge deal for me. So I'm pretty excited about it. Now, everybody else is saying, just the other day, a guy up here, he's kind of like a scrap collector. People just bring him scraps. So the other day he brought me, I don't know, a half dozen, 8 weed eaters. He said, I don't know if you can use these, but you can't throw them away. If you can, fix them up, sell them, do whatever you want with them. So he brings them over. He says, people stop over there at my place all the time asking if there's some place to work on lawnmowers, because he has lawnmowers out front. Because he's a scrap guy. So people drop off lawnmowers to scrap. And so a lot of people just assume he works on lawnmowers. He says, no, I sent them down to you. Which no one's ever said that they were sent down by him, but I mean, that's a big deal. Also, there's a tire change place over there. I need to give him some business cards, but he told me that he's sending people down here also. So I don't know how many people are going to sit down by him. I mean, it's a tire change place, unless you're taking a lawnmower tire over there, and he doesn't fix those. So it's going to be spotty, I guess, until probably May. You know, we got a big influx of things within 1 week, and now it doesn't seem like we're getting anything too consistent, but that's okay. We'll get back at it, I'm sure. So if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you over to my other channel, and we're going to be working on a chainsaw. So if I can inspire you to find a hobby business so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.